Hi, Darrell.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's good.
And
That's
you?
good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm very good. All right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I'm already recording. We can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, okay.
Uh, uh,
I've seen you doing mostly like voice podcast, right? Not the video.
I do I do video like in cases like this, but
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it's predominantly audio. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So I detect an accent. Like, where are you located?
Well, right now I'm in Miami, but
Okay.
normally I'm living in Germany and I'm
Oh,
Russian. So,
oh, okay. That's
yeah.
yeah, okay. That's cool. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with you. We're gonna the floor is yours. You're going to introduce yourself and what you're doing right now.
Well, I'm human dynamic specialist. I'm best-selling author and speaker. And well, I am looking into, the behavior, the way the people thinking,
Yeah,
the way the people talking to themselves, hypnotizing themselves all day long, but just
yeah,
in destructive way. Yeah, and I am helping my clients to build kind of a bridge to the life they're currently in and to the
yeah.
life they're looking for.
Mhm.
And then we're working through on moving them through this bridge. And by taking away all this destructive stuff like conditioning, like negative thoughts, like some emotional stuff that it's still keeping them in the past or they're afraid of the future. So it's all things like I'm working with, and I'm working on both levels, on conscious level and subconscious, because I'm also a clinical hypnosis specialist. So, all together. And I'm also looking in everything, not just mental health. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to guide my clients also um, through the physical state as well. So I'm always discussing, okay, what you are eating, what you are doing all the day, how are you sleeping, and all this stuff, So guide them maybe if they need a doctor advice on something, because some people are not aware of anything. So I'm just, because I see the person as a whole. It's never like mental and physical, and you have mental, all things pretty, and physical, it's trash. So it's all together always.
yeah. I agree to that. It's yeah, they like it's so much of people that, do lose themselves in the process. And it could be anything. It could be like uh, a job or personal, family, uh
Relationship, yeah, exactly.
relationships. Yep. And it's been like I be doing the same thing. And it's not by I'll say in my opinion, it's not by guilt for me. It's like I do it and it's because I tend to overthink. And mostly when they say overthinking is like really bad for you, it's been like you've been through so much. Like you know what's going to happen. You're not necessarily predicting it, but you have a general idea of what's happening. And yes, overthinking can actually kill like different scenarios in your life. And it may not even happen. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's that's just me in my mind just thinking out loud because of people always lose themselves and I'm always the one losing myself too. And it can be very hard to cope with, but I have absolutely no guilt, no regret doing it. It's like it'll like when the time comes I can actually, look past it or whatever, or just, you know, find a way to heal from it. And yeah, that's where I stand. Like when it comes to me losing myself, talking to myself, thinking out loud. It's it can be a very fun adventure. And
Exactly, exactly. And you're saying something important. You are not feeling yourself guilty.
right.
And this is the point,
Hmm.
because I think, yeah, it's good to realize something and just have it like a fact. Okay, I'm overthinking.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
starting to think how to not overthink, but without, regretting or feeling yourself guilty. Because some people are really like feeling themselves guilty afterwards, and it's, like doubling the effect again,
Hmm.
and making them or putting them under more pressure even.
Yeah.
And yeah, guilt, regret is everything like kind of emotions that stuck somewhere, and sometime by making some like effect when it's just layering, and sometime
Yeah.
it's coming then after with something really major health issues, major mental health issues, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that right. And so, in your opinion, just in your opinion, yeah, I mean, there could be some true statements in there, but in your opinion, how do people emotionally lose themselves?
Oh, emotional losing. Interesting. I just had my book
Yeah.
released in beginning of April. That is, well, it's going through relationship and toxic and, difficult emotional relationship.
Yeah.
And it's actually has a title, Allowing Without Losing Yourself. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, why are you losing yourself? To ask this
Hmm.
question. And sometime you will find a lot of interesting things about yourself, maybe coming from the past, from
Yeah.
past, let's say, relationship, from past um, job experiences or anything that affecting you.
Hmm.
Maybe it's your self-worth feeling that it's missing.
Hmm.
And this is something you have to understand, just understand
Yeah.
and ask, okay, how I can do it better next time. What I have to do to maybe next time when I'm in the same situation to go through completely differently, you know? And it's also something interesting I was thinking recently, how we are all conditioned also from
Yeah.
almost the very beginning we're entering this world by our family, by our society, by our culture, religion, anything, school, universities, and anything that it's
Yeah.
just going,
Yeah.
and pushing again some layers onto us. And yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something like breaking the system from inside. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
yeah.
And like my whole thing with this podcast, like what I do with this podcast, and the reason why I do it is because I put myself into a bad relationship, right? And I started speaking on it. And that's my main core and what I talk about in the bad aspects of this relationship and, you know, why it ended and, you know, what are things that people can do to actually, get themselves out of, you know, the really bad toxic relationship. And that's where I had to kind of start. And it's been it's been a journey because I would be a fool to go and actually keep forgiving, getting second chances, third chances, fourth chances, and eventually seeing that is not going to help anything, is not going to change anything. The hardest part is actually letting go. And that's been the hardest throughout my journey of trying to, get out of the toxic relationship. And it's been moods been a little different. Like You have good days and then you'll have bad days. Your anxiety kicks up and everything just changes. It's like a fluctuation of how your body is responding to, no contact or, and it's responding to different things that it's not used to being doing. It's like it's been it's just been wild. Like it's been so wild. I've been able to focus on myself. I've been able to do the things that I really need to do and want to do, and it's been like I said, it's just been one of those wild journeys that it's like, okay, when is this going to pass? Like, how am I going to make this pass? So it's like the one thing I really want to ask you is like, what are the warning signs? Like when people actually lose themselves or they actually are, in that situation.
The warning, first, after, for instance, you had a conflict with the person, and it could be your partner, could be anyone at work,
Mm-hmm.
your family,
Family. Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah. And if you feel yourself um, like not okay, you're feeling something happening in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you wanted to say no, but you said yes, you know,
Yeah.
and you're feeling guilt, regret again. So this is something to start thinking about. Why?
Yeah.
And if it's repeating,
Mm-hmm.
then it's really a sign that something is going wrong. When you had a feeling that you express your wishes and someone is just overlooking you, that you have a feeling to sing somewhere, in a life, to
Yeah.
not feel like you bring a value in relationship. And it could be, again, any relationship. It's not just focusing on men, women, women, man. It could be anyone, in
Yeah.
our life. A toxic person could be anywhere.
Yeah.
And it just to understand this, if you start feeling really like something is going wrong, and
Yeah.
even if you not have a clue, like clear, okay, what is wrong with me or with this person, but just the feeling that gives you already like an idea, here is something I have to think about, so this is a starting point to really look at. And sometimes it takes really time. It's not like happening in one day. You said it, a
Yeah.
journey, and it could be a journey. Yeah, and it's difficult, I think, really most difficult part, especially in a very toxic relationship, to let's just let it go sometime. And what I
Mm-hmm.
see very often in publics about narcissists, about toxic relationship, that people are tend more blame the partner, and
Right.
write all this stuff. Yeah, he did it or she did it to me and blah, blah, blah. But it's not gives you a healing. It not helps you in life. You have
Mm-hmm.
to really put your like look into your inside, what is happening in myself,
Yeah.
acknowledge this, realize your current situation, get clarity on your current situation, and then to understand what do you want to have, to get clarity on that, and then looking how you can move from where you are to where you want to be and what
Right.
needs to be done. And sometimes it's really for people painful because you're realizing you have to, yeah, to break up completely. So there is nothing to heal, to keep going with this relationship with this person. And this is also something difficult part. But if you want to be healthy, probably it's a step you need to do.
Yep. I agree. I agree. What made you decide to do this? Like, was it something that you've experienced or so many people has been coming to you for it? What made you decide to do this?
Look, in general, I had an issue in my past life with burnout, which was
Yeah.
actually catalyzed me to rethink completely who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And being also mom of four, having a really high demanding job, it was difficult to get a balance. But
Yeah.
also I had some problems in my personal life, also with a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And this is something, I started also working on this. And probably it's always like the same dynamic what brings you in toxic relationship or in a burnout situation. It's always some conditioning that you undergo previously in your life. In my life was, for instance, I was always be expected a good girl, from the very beginning. And it's very
Yeah.
often it's really not depends on the country you are living because it's
Right.
everywhere. Some kind of
Oh yeah.
stamps we're getting everywhere since we're small.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Um, so would you say how much of adult behavior comes from conscious emotional conditioning?
Well, mostly all because the subconscious mind it's actually ruling our behavior, our ability to make decisions in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, I'm very often I have clients who are people that are really some in psychology. They are reading some books and they know how to do actually. But
Yeah.
when it's coming to the situation, when you have a
Mm-hmm.
conflict or something, and they're coming later and saying me, look, I know I shouldn't be behaving like this, but I can't you
Right.
know and this is something that it's all programming, that's something conditioning that it's coming at that moment
Mm-hmm.
out of yourself and you cannot control, and you're saying something maybe you should not be saying at all. Yeah, and it's very interesting things, very interesting, because our inner world, our subconscious mind is controlling, as I said, behavior, decision making, and it's actually sometimes reacting in a way that people sometimes wouldn't expect at all.
Yeah.
And then surprise, oh, it was me. Like it couldn't be. I'm not like this, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've dealt with that before. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that, that type of behavior exists for me, but yes, I can understand that. Yeah, it can be pretty difficult. And you talked about um burnout, right?
Hmm.
What did your burnout consist of? Did it consist of jobs? Did it consist? You did say high demanded jobs. Like, did it also consist like in relationships and all of these other things that you was dealing with?
Exactly. So it's affecting completely you as a person. It's
Mhm.
not just job. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can't be like good at one thing and bad at another thing. So it's
Yeah.
affecting, if something is affecting you, it's affecting every aspect of your life. And yeah, it was pretty difficult time.
Hmm.
And but I learned a lot, you know. I
Yeah.
learned a lot afterwards when I started like improving myself, looking what I can do better, and going
Hmm.
into first into myself into hypnotic like therapy,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
then just decided, interesting. It's so interesting. I would love to learn about more. And yeah, so I started like moving my life direction in completely different way. Um, Went off the corporate job, so I left it behind
Yeah.
completely and started completely new journey. So it's always a purpose in something, and also with toxic relationship, I like to say like we have no friends, no enemies in the life. It's just
Yeah.
everyone is a teacher, and if you
Hmm.
see it this way, you maybe will start thinking, okay, what this person trying to say me, maybe
Hmm.
what I'm not seeing in myself at that moment. So it's
Hmm.
always a sign somewhere. But yeah, it's good when someone is starting to be reflective and not just like saying, okay, he's a dull, or I don't know, he's this terrible person, but just thinking on this way, okay, let's think about maybe there is something inside of myself what I can change. Or maybe it's a time over and I have to move further. Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Right.
always something like this.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, like, what are your thoughts about uh, people pleasing? What are your thoughts about that? Is that could that be a pet peeve, or is that just something like it could be a tradition that shouldn't happen? What do you think of the people pleasing?
Again, as I mentioned, so in my case, it was like being a good girl. Being a good girl, so it's also like kind of pleasing some people.
Yeah.
When you're afraid to hurt someone because you may lose this person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all coming from somewhere. It's not just starting, with a new job, with a new relationship. It's already sitting inside of you somewhere deeply. And it just coming on the surface. And well, it's also something with the self-worth feeling, with the boundaries that are people not able to build, and just letting always someone is coming too close to them and saying yes to everything and then feeling themselves completely damaged after. So it's an interesting way, and there are some couple of directions. It's sometimes it's family dynamics that they lived through when they were child. Yeah, it's something, I like my job because you're always like a detective. You have to find the where the problem is coming from, the
Right.
source, because people are then, building like a construction around this, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to find a source. And one of my teachers, he always used a metaphor to explain. He was working for a demolition company, and to get the building really damaged completely, you have to find the specific place where you put the wrecking ball or the some explosive,
Yeah.
I don't know, TNT or something. I don't know what they're using there, but you have to find a specific point,
Mm-hmm.
so to get this construction just explode. Yeah, and this is something I'm looking for with my clients. Okay, where it's coming from? Yeah, to then to rewrite, not to forget, but to rewrite the emotional state they are linking to this, and to have the positive learning out of this. Because again,
Mm.
everyone is a teacher.
Right. Right. And it's funny because I think I'm like guilty of people pleasing. Now I have a 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old girl. And that's where it really started to, get bad. Like there's family that want to do this, they want to do that. With my little girl, they want to do everything. And it came to a point where I was accepting it, but it wasn't in my best interest. And it got so bad, maybe about a couple of years ago, I just completely lost it because all of those 4 years of, people wanting to do this, people telling me to do this, and everything else, they're doing all of that. It got to a point where I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just couldn't. And I went ballistic because a lot of people were failing to realize that, hello, I'm the dad here. Like, I should have been putting my foot down from the beginning, but, I understand it. Like, that's my first child. And, you know, that's my mother's first grandchild, my sister's first aunt, and all of that. And I understand the dynamic of it, but sometimes you really have to put your foot down because I had let people just step over my boundaries for so long.
Mhm.
And it damn near destroyed me in a way. It almost did. And I knew that if I didn't get the situation under control, like how I was supposed to, then yeah, I would have been lost in the woods and I would have never recovered. And that was the biggest story besides the toxic relationship. That was one of also the biggest stories that I've had to deal with because when people were overstepping my boundaries, that was really getting me to a point where I wasn't actually looking at myself as the person that people should have been, you know, respecting me and my boundaries. And it really it really just took me in a whole different direction. So I had to make that necessary change. I had to. I didn't have a choice. Now, I didn't take away anything from, them spending time with her or nothing like that. I never took that away. But there had to be changes. You have to respect my boundaries. You have to respect me as a father, you know, and that's where, you know, things are getting better, but I still have to kind of, you know, speak up on some things. My brother has to speak up on things about this because he's been my backbone since this whole journey. He's always been my backbone. And it's hard to, articulate the why people do these things. It's hard for me to figure that out. And to be honest, it's something I really don't want to figure out. It's just like, okay, I have boundaries. Please respect. You know, you understand like how that how that works because it's like it could be very confusing for me, and it's like what do I do? Like I know people's going to be like, okay, they'll say bad things about me, millions of things, bad things about me. But the minute that I sit up here, let them do this, let them do that, nothing comes out of their mouth. There's no, I wouldn't say there was not necessarily any appreciation, but it's like, it happens. But then when I start to put my foot down, set boundaries and stuff like that, oh, I got to be the baddest person in the world. Horrible. And it's a crazy journey. It's a
Yeah,
crazy.
it's actually the most difficult part to say no when you want
Yeah.
to say no. Yeah, it's really difficult. And it's afterwards people feel themselves like they are yeah, it's a trait on themselves,
Yeah.
because you feel yourself bad afterwards. And yeah, especially I think it's in the family dynamics. And you mentioned your sister, your mom,
Mm-hmm.
having the first child like in the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, probably it's also coming something already from your childhood when you've been smaller and already started somewhere
Yeah.
there. Like they knew how
Yeah.
they can behave with you.
And that is I was the child that I could have been difficult. Like I was difficult. Like I
Hmm.
had been punished for not listening to my sister. My mom will always, have her in charge. And I'm sitting up here like, she's a kid. Why would she want to be in charge of me? Why do I gotta listen to her? And so that's when the bad dynamics just started kicking in. Like, you ain't gonna sit here and tell me what to do. That's how we gonna roll on this one. Like, you're just a kid, right? And that's where it led me to punishment after punishment after punishment. And I'm like, is this the repercussions I'm dealing with because of how I was as a child? And now that we're all grown up, we've gotten older. I got a 5-year old, and now I got to really set boundaries for how I want to raise my daughter.
Exactly. How many kids were in your family?
I'm sorry.
How many kids were in your family when you was child?
It was just us three. It was just me, my brother, and my sister.
Three. Okay. And you are the middle one or the youngest one?
I'm the middle one. I'm actually a twin.
Okay.
So um Yeah, I'm a twin, and I was born first, then my brother was like a minute later.
Hmm. Oh,
So
okay, okay.
yeah, that's where like because my brother is one of the ones that actually listened. He actually, he never really got himself into deep trouble like how I did because of he'll listen, he'll do what he needs to do and stuff like that, and everything was good with him. Me on the other hand, I was a different child. It felt like I wasn't even part of that family. Like, where did he come from? Like, I was different. I was completely different in that stage because like I said, I just couldn't tolerate a lot of things. I just didn't think it was fair on how you know my sister was able to be in charge. My mom put her through that situation. I'm like, come on, she's just a kid. I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but it's just my opinion. Like, I understand why people do that, especially by her being the oldest. I understand it. But for me, it's just like, nah, I think I might just raise some hell here. Like, it's ain't right. Like, I just,
Yeah.
that's just how I am. But yeah, I just,
Yeah, of course, your mom did it why she loved you, but
yeah,
it's probably the only way she thought she's doing right for you,
yeah,
and you are different, yeah.
all right.
And it's like you see very often around like people who or kids who are different,
Mhm.
yeah, they would be conditioned really strictly.
Yeah,
Like you have to be sensitive. I know in English there is some wording like the child should be seen but not heard, so it's really really interesting. Like we are like taking the voice also from our kids, and this is why I am trying really to grow my kids differently.
yeah,
Not conditioning, but just showing how to live. Doing my stuff, and they will be. They're always like looking at you as an example, and taking also some things from you, like how you talk, what you eat, how you think, or what you're doing through the day. And
yeah,
I'm also have some discussions with some parents or with also clients, like if you'd like your child to read yourself.
right.
If you like your child to learn yourself. You cannot expect someone just by being told like you have to do this and this, that they will be like starting doing something differently.
Yeah.
They are always watching you. But again, it's again not to blame your mom or your sister.
Mm-mm.
She was trying to do the best for you, but just
Absolutely.
the way that maybe was not the perfect one. But now you have awareness of this and you can work from this
Mm,
and starting to change yourself and build your boundaries. And yes, sometimes it's really, for people, like, especially for the family, it's difficult. They are looking at you like, oh, look at him. What is he trying to say us? Ooh,
yeah,
and it's also with the friends. So the closest people are taking really deep with I think much more difficult the changes in you than probably some strangers, who knows you like
yeah,
briefly.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's okay. You have to go through at least because I mean, would you like to be healthy or not? And when you're healthy, you can bring in this life more, especially for your child, than
yeah.
being unhappy and unhealthy.
Hmm. I'll say this: I'm not even healthy. Okay, I am a type 2 diabetic. I've been a diabetic now for probably about a year, and
Hmm.
I have been really working on trying to. Well, actually, I've been doing like um, diet changes, and
Hmm.
one of the things that I've said this like on my podcast, like on my journey, like I'm doing like a semi all meat diet, and that is the that diet is amazing because of how it really shifts my body. Like all of the because I was a reckless eater. I was really a reckless eater. I like, oh gosh, all kinds of sweets, all kinds of, I mean, mainly just sweets. Like that was my addiction, and I knew I had to simmer that. I was a Pepsi guy. I was an energy drink guy. Man, let me tell you, like it got so bad. Like I would have like there was a pack of the Monster energy drinks. There was like four in a pack. I used to drink all of those in one sitting. And yeah, I paid the price for it. I paid the price for it. And that's what I knew I had to get that up. I pushed that away a long time ago. The Pepsi was another story. That took me a while to kind of push away too, but I finally pushed that away. And the sweets, I just started that last year. And I finally pushed that away. So slowly taking these steps to kind of, step back and actually understand me being a type 2 diabetic has been pretty serious. And I had to, that's when I had to like think about the diets I need. And I was like, this meat diet looks pretty interesting. I can, let's see how that works out. And, it's been semi, I'll still have my reckless days, right? And it's not all the time, but I still have my reckless days. It is not with sweets or Pepsi or nothing like that, right? So that's when I try to bring that down to my daughter, but every time she sees me, cooking a burger or pork chops or something like that, she's like, "Ew, I don't like that. I like cereal." I'm like, "Okay, I like cereal too, but it's kind of sugary and a little too sweet." So, and I try to shift that dynamic in her, but it's not working. It's not working at
You won't
all.
be able. You won't be
Nah.
able. Yeah, yeah. I just show on your example and do it quietly. You do just
Yeah.
your thing. Yeah, and the same. I see on my kids like, um, I changed my way of eating, and I'm not calling it diet because diet is some like limiting word. It's always like, you know, has this feeling of restricting yourself with something. Yeah.
Right.
So the
Right.
way of eating, style, lifestyle, I changed it. And it was awesome for my kids, really like when they were smaller. Oh, she's eating something we would never ever eat. But I
Mhm.
see now how it changed with they are growing up and they're understanding, okay, it's actually healthy what mom is doing, you know. And this here is important, thing to not preaching something like you have to do it because it's healthy.
Mhm.
I am like, okay, if you like to eat your stuff, eat it. No problem. I'm just doing my stuff without any some rewarding myself loudly in front of all family sitting there. Oh, look at mom, I'm doing this way. No, just quietly do your things, and they will, with the time, understand that you're doing something really good and copying yourself. And what is also interesting, you mentioned something on sweets, you know,
Yeah.
sugar, and
Yeah.
everything what is with the food in our modern world is actually emotional.
It is.
We just have to put in now something that is giving us this dopamine, spikes. So we feel ourselves happy because we're losing really this ability to feel ourselves happy with nothing, with just, waking up, feeling the sun outside or the rain or anything, just being happy as the base. And this is something we lost it completely. And we're trying to compensate it with any stuff like food, sweets, alcohol, smoking, and anything. And yeah, the problem is when you start doing this once, you need always more and more. This
Mhm.
reward center that is in your head is always asking for more. And if you just stop eating something, you may start doing something else to compensate these emotional feelings what you miss, and it's very interesting, a very interesting journey. Like 2 years ago,
Hmm.
I came across a book from Demi Moore, this
Hmm.
Hollywood actress, and she was
Hmm.
writing about her life. And if you read this book, she is going through some really difficult stuff in her childhood,
Yeah.
and how she is starting compensating through her life. And she was drug abuse. She stopped. She became some sport abusive. She stopped. Then was alcohol. Stopped. Then was a person. If you're not cure the really on the base of your addictions, and this is something
Yeah.
emotional that was
Yeah.
happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can stop eating something, but you will start smoking. Maybe you will stop smoking. You will maybe start drug abuse or anything else. So you have to really work um, on the ground with the problem that caused actually anything in your life, and learn to be happy by yourself.
I love being by myself. Like, I ain't gonna deny that either. But I didn't know she was dealing with all that. I just knew about the marriage issues and stuff like that. Anything that they put on the news, I would see. Like, I would know, but I didn't know it was that deep. I didn't know that. So,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You have to read the book so you will understand. And now, recently I had a discussion because she looking like beautiful on the photos,
yeah.
but
Hmm.
I see, I can read the people's like from the way they stand, it's my like job, to see something that people maybe not see in themselves.
Yeah.
And I see no stability at all still there. Yeah, she
Yeah.
might looking on the photo very pretty, but it's still something that damaged her from inside. And yeah, this is something we have to understand, any of us. What is holding you? What is moving you to the fridge middle of the night, having some sweets or anything, putting in your mouth? And it's definitely something that you miss, and especially with the food, we also very often connect something like, maybe a feeling of being cozy in being this love, feeling love again. If
Yeah.
the people, your parents was giving you some sweet treats after you did something good,
Yeah.
so it's all this stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. Man. So I want to ask you this. Like, it may not have anything to do with anything, but I still got to get your opinion on it. So when we talk about, well, we haven't really mentioned it, but like women in leadership, like,
Hmm.
how do you feel about women being, in a role of leadership? Because for me, I feel like we need more women in leadership, like hands down, because we've already seen for God 2,000 years on what men can do. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, when you can see women in leadership.
Look, I am completely on your side. I'd like to have more women on the top leading, levels of, I
Yeah.
don't know, country, companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a huge but. We're different. Men and women are different from our nature, our biology, our psychology. We're different. And unfortunately, the way the leadership is defined today is more like built by man and for man. And there is
Yeah.
a way to rethink completely, how is the way of women to be a leader.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, going, sitting on a white horse and like, oh, let's just, run, it's a man. We are
Yeah.
different. We have to be flexible. We have power in being women, you know And when we act as a man in a man world, it's actually brings us in the very difficult healthy situations because especially stress is affecting
Hmm.
women much more than the man. Men, it's by nature, can be in the stressful situations for longer time. Yeah, it will be affecting the man as well, but women were not actually supposed to be in this way. And it's affecting everything, hormonal balance, mental
Hmm.
health, brain cognitive function. The
Yep.
brain shrinks
Hmm.
for women, really, from the stress. And this is something we have to consider. So it should be completely, other systems. If we'd like to have more women there in the leadership positions, then we have to rethink how to give the chance us to lead with our power, being women, rather than copying the men, you know. So this is something, yeah.
I still think like we need to see more of that though, even though that women are different when it comes to that. But we've seen men in the making. We've seen men, you know, suffer in a professional level and in a personal level. We've seen that. We've seen that for a long time. And we don't get to see what women can do. We don't get to see that at all. And people don't want to see that. And I feel like it's time that that change needs to be made. It needs to be made. And I'm not saying it because I'm trying to pick a side. I'm saying that because we need a fresher. We need something fresh. Like we need different perspective. We need different thoughts. We just need to see how women can handle all of the things that are going on, rather if it's a company, rather if it's political, anything. Like we see mothers in action a lot. Like we see the praise, but in the aspect of a whiter bride, of politically and running a company or something like that, that's what we need to see more. I would love to see more of. I really do because we're we're in a we're in a space now that I'm not trying to I'm trying to put this as nicely as I can, but I don't think I can. But men can be jerks. Okay. Men can look, men can actually literally lose their minds. And they feel like that this power and control, they feel like that most men, they feel like that, you know, it's okay to do this, and this when it's wrong. They feel like that they could do that, and that when they know it's wrong. Everything that we have seen, everything that we go through with men in power is just bullshit. It drives me crazy. It drives me bat crazy. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, we just need a whole new mindset here. Like, we really need it. I've seen men at my job, idiots. Like, it's hard. Like, how am I going to deal with this? This is why I am so detached from my job. I am so detached because men they're running things and it's just not appropriately right. Like we seeing how y'all run things. We see it. Let's come on. Let's do some women here. Like we need to see a whole different perspective of life. You'll never know what you'll learn. Women can be powerful too, and that's what men don't understand. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we have a different power. Exactly. It just have to be considered, as you told, Yeah, just briefly, like men are just, saying when they have this emotional spike, just to say something. And I think women brings more wisdom,
I agree.
and they sometimes, just make a step back and see a bit broader the situation, and decide from that, you know.
Mhm.
And man is more emotional, maybe in some cases.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, it's nice to have really both in the boat,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
get best of the both,
Hmm.
walls, mental, physical, and anything. Yeah, it would be good. But I'm not um, on this side when in Europe, uh, it's now, I think it's also not correct. I feel like the best should take the place to be the leader. But yes, it's good to have, yeah, both men and women, and giving everyone, to lead the way we are able to lead,
Hmm.
to just have the best of us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking men at all. Like, I'm not totally just throwing them under the bus, but it's just like we see so much of what's going on, how things operate, things I see, how it operates. The venting part of that was like really refreshing because I needed to say it out loud because of what I see. Like, I'm not knocking men at
Yeah.
all. I'm not knocking men at all. Like, it's always good to see, like there are men that come on here and they talk, and I've developed good friendships with, and I'm not knocking that at all. But like I say, it's just some men, not all, but it's just, ooh, yeah, they could be crazy. But I developed a lot of friendships like doing this with men, and I respect that. It's always good when both sides of the sector can actually do it. So I understand. What's the biggest reason people lose themselves emotionally today? I'm gonna close out with that.
Well, I don't see like the biggest reason.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, it's we conditioned from the very beginning, how we touch in school, and we touch specific ways,
Mm-hmm.
when you mentioned you was like a difficult child, let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
yeah, and how
yeah.
you was just put back always like being the fitting into this what your mother was thinking should be,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the way, and like we are losing ourselves when we're starting to stepping into the world, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
latest at the school already, yeah, with all the conditioning, like what we have to think, what the world is in the opinion of someone else, and this is
Mm-hmm.
something where we're losing yourself. And when you are a bit different, so you always be like hit on the head, yeah, you have to sit, you have to behave, you have to obey,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we are losing constantly this sense of ourselves. And if you will remember yourself maybe up to age of 5, you could be happy just for no reason,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
enjoy life for no reason, you maybe was crying for 5 minutes, but then you just forgot why the reason again, and you was happy again. So, and this is something what we're losing with the time, because at our childhood we were told like you have to be grown up, you have to think as grown up, and once we are adult, everyone is telling us you're grown up, you just childish, too childish in that moment, so
Yeah.
always like this way, like getting us back out of, yeah, our nature, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the environment, you are has to fit into the system of, I don't know, state, cultural, religion. Yeah. It's all like some frames that are putting us in some, model of behavior. but it has nothing to do with what we are actually.
Yep, I can understand that. I can understand that. Yeah, that makes more sense when you put it like that. So, yeah, and this is the reason I do this podcast. Like, I just enjoy listening to people. I enjoy what they can bring, what their wisdoms are, what they've experienced, and what they've learned. And that's been the biggest that's the biggest reason why, I do this. Like, come on, and I, you know, want to listen to people. And it's been an enjoyable journey, even though that I still do other things on the side, but I enjoy this is the main thing I enjoy doing. Like, come on and, listen. And you've been wonderful when it came to speaking what you've experienced and why you had to give up some things for yourself to keep yourself sane and happy. So I can understand now why that you have to be more putting pressure on yourself in a good way, not in a bad way. You just have to, be more consistent and all of that. So yeah, that's why I do this. I enjoy listening to you and what you brung. And it's exciting. It's exciting. So yeah, I really appreciate your time and you coming on and bringing it in, just sharing what you feel.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast, and I
Yeah,
I had really wonderful time. So it just flew by. We had almost 1 hour
yeah,
already,
almost an hour. Yeah,
and it was interesting, to hear your perspective, especially when you went so emotional and having more women on a
yeah.
leadership.
Like I
Yeah,
had to
but
vent
it
that
was really
out.
nice. It was
Yeah,
really nice. I loved
yeah,
it.
yeah. I had to
Yeah.
vent that out. I thought that was like, I really like because I just had to let that out. Like I really don't get the opportunity to do that, and hardly any other time I don't get the experience to do that. But since the time was right, I had to. I had to do it.
Yeah, and it's okay, it's good when we have a safe space to express our emotions,
Yes,
to
yes.
express our feelings, to talk to
Mhm,
someone who will understand you. It's always
mhm.
good. And it's the right place here. So
Yeah, and that's
thank
what.
you.
Yes, that's why I've always say like my space here, my open space here on this podcast. That's what it is. Anybody that comes in is their space too. It's their open space. Is just feel free. I've always tried to do it
Yeah,
for myself, and I always try to do it for everybody else that comes. So yeah, but yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on.
thank you too, Darrell.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.